Okay, it's day 8 of Luke. I hope you're enjoying the reading so far. Today's passage is a little bit shorter, but it has a lot packed into it, particularly with this first story. And I think don't, as you're reading, get too caught up in where each day starts and ends. Think about, as you're reading today, what came before in yesterday's reading, and then what you're kind of looking forward to. Just like even read the chapter titles, because again, Luke has written an orderly account, and so all of this is meant to flow together. It's not just some arbitrary passages that we here at HVMC kind of broke up for you to easily be able to read. And I think that's really important for today, because what Luke is doing, I think, is showing us some of the different ways that people are responding to Jesus. Yesterday's story was all about him being rejected in his own hometown, and today kind of picks up right on that same theme. He is in Capernaum, another city on the northern side of Israel. It's right around the Sea of Galilee. He's teaching, it's the Sabbath, as he's been doing, and we're specifically told that the people there are astonished at his teaching. But again, Luke is very intentional. They're astonished at his teaching, but that's it. That's it. We don't get any stories about people who decide they want to follow him in this moment. All we're told is that they're astonished by his teaching. They don't say, oh my goodness, this is the Messiah come to save us. They're just astonished. But then there's one man who has a demon problem, we'll call it, a possession or whatever you want to call it, depending on what you believe. But he's being terrorized by this unclean spirit, this unclean demon. And this is what the demon says when Jesus is there. What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? So he knows his humanity, right? He knows that this is Jesus born of Nazareth. He knows his humanity, but then he says, have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. Okay, this is a demon speaking out of the lips of some man in the synagogue who not only knows Jesus's earthly identity, but knows that he's the Holy One of God, and he knows what that means. He knows that means that one day this Holy One of God is coming to destroy evil at its source, and that would mark the end of this demon's existence. I don't know about you, but I find this fascinating. Here we have a whole synagogue of people who have been steeped in the Old Testament traditions, who know the signs that point forward to the Messiah, who have seen Jesus potentially even before this point, going around Galilee, teaching. He was an itinerant teacher. He would have had the same track going around and around and around. So it's possible that this isn't the first time he's been teaching. Surely they've started to hear about Jesus as he's going on his ministry. And they're just astonished. They think he's a really great teacher. But an evil one, someone who is set opposed from God, knows exactly who he is. And I think this has a lesson for me in sometimes I get lost in the head knowledge about who Jesus is and what he is. But there's a deeper element to that. Because it's not enough that the demon knows who Jesus is, knows that he's the Holy One of God. There's something internal that's missing. Otherwise, this demon wouldn't be possessing a man and going about doing evil things. There's something about this inward transformation that hasn't happened yet in either of the parties that Luke is pointing out to us. It's not enough to be astonished by Jesus's teaching, though I often am, marvel at some of his teaching. How can you teach people to love your enemies and then model it too? I'm astonished by Jesus. And I know who he is. I believe cognitively that Jesus is who he says he is, that he's the Messiah, that he's the Holy One of God. But that's not it. I think Luke is kind of calling us deeper to say, like, what are the different responses to Jesus? What's your response to Jesus? When you think about Jesus, are you just astonished? Like, do you think he's just a really great teacher? Do you think that he's the Holy One of God? But what does that mean? In a couple of chapters, actually in next week's reading, we're going to get to the famous question where Jesus sits down and asks Like, who does everybody say that I am? Who do all these people think that I am? And I think Peter could point back to what this demon is saying. You're the Holy One of God, maybe, or you're just a great teacher. But the answer that Peter gives is so important. And I think you and I, as we read this, we talked about it in the email, kind of setting up all of this reading plan. We have to grapple not just with who we cognitively know Jesus to be, or just the reactions that we have when we read about his teachings, being astonished or marveling at his wisdom. There's something deeper that we have to get to. And I think this is where, again, the orderly account, we're not there yet. I don't think Luke's giving us the answer. He's just trying to tease out of us, who do you say that Jesus is? What do you believe about him? And he's showing us some of the different ways that people have seen that as they've encountered him. So this is just another window into what life would have been like following Jesus. I hope you're enjoying the study so far. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.